By 9 a.m., the air in Gloria's house of beauty was already sweet with pressing oil and grape soda. The door chime, that old brass bell that had dinged for 40 years, sang its little two-note hello every time someone stepped in with a headscarf and a story. The gospel station played low, a choir holding a note like morning sunlight, and the curling irons clicked gently across the countertops like metronomes keeping time with the hum of the hooded dryers.
On the far wall hung photos of styles from the 80s and 90s, salt and pepper finger waves, asymmetrical bobs with hard parts and feathered bangs, jerry curls glistening under a camera flash. There were Polaroids of prom nights and a framed flyer for Charlotte Natural Hair Expo 2003, featuring Ms. Gloria M. Above the front desk, a sun-faded poster read, "You are a queen. Adjust your crown daily." Gloria stood at her main chair in a black smock that said Gloria's in gold script. At 68, her hair was a cloud of silver curls, pinned back neatly. Her hands moved with a grace that came from muscle memory and love, sectioning a client's coils with the tail of a comb, lifting and smoothing as if she were ironing a ribbon. 40 years will make an artist out of anybody willing to listen, willing to learn, willing to keep showing up. And Gloria had kept showing up, through the crack of dawn shampoo sets, through recessions and rent hikes, through neighborhood changes and new products and hot tools that promised to do what only trained hands could.
"Head down, chin to your chest for me, baby," she said to Denise, who had been coming to the shop since she was 9 and had cried the first time she felt the heat of a pressing comb hover near her ear. Denise was 42 now, a corporate recruiter with a crossbody bag of resumes and optimism. Her own daughter had gone off to college last fall. "Whew," Denise breathed, peeking at herself in the mirror, hair stretched smooth and gleaming. "You still got it, Miss Gloria." "I never lost it," Gloria said. Her smile was small and warm, the kind of smile that never asked for attention, only gave comfort. The door chime dinged again. Maya slipped in, a backpack on her shoulders and a scrunchie around her wrist. She had the tentative energy of a person who found the salon late and fell in love quickly, the way some people find a poet in college and suddenly start underlining. Maya had discovered Gloria's shop last year, overworked and underslept, still carrying cafeteria pancakes in her stomach when she stumbled in asking for a trim and stayed for a long talk about surviving finals week. "Hey, Ms. Gloria," Maya called, pushing up her glasses. "I brought donuts." She held up a white box like an offering. "Put 'em next to the register, baby," Gloria said. "I'll get one between heads." A bride swept in behind Maya, veil draped over her arm like a pet. She was 8 years older now, but still carried the flush of that day in her cheeks when she had sat in this very chair crying because the other stylist canceled and she needed a miracle. Gloria had stayed late then, cooling irons on a towel and whispering, "You'll walk down that aisle with your head high. You hear me?" "Miss?" Gloria, the bride, now a mother of 2, said, "I had to bring you these." She presented a round tin of butter cookies, the kind that always promised one thing and delivered another, and still nobody minded. "For the last day." "Lord, y'all trying to fatten me up," Gloria laughed. "Put 'em next to the donuts." By 10:30, all 4 chairs were full. The hooded dryers hummed like old friends gossiping. Someone's child ran circles with beads clacking in her braids like tiny castanets. 2 little girls took turns in front of the mirror, practicing pageant waves they learned from YouTube. A man in a navy suit poked his head in, nervously smoothing his tie as if this were a church, and he needed permission to enter. "Excuse me," he said. "Is Ms. Gloria here?" "Who asking?" Gloria didn't turn around. Her eyes were on the curling iron, on the bend forming at Denise's temple. My name is Victor. I used to come in with my mom back when," he smiled shyly. "She passed last year, but I still keep her pictures. She had that shortcut with the little swirl." "Miss Lorraine," Gloria said, setting the iron down and turning to face him. I know. Her eyes softened. You got tall, Victor. I'm 35, he said, then laughed at how it sounded. I just saw the sign. I thought I should say thank you. Baby, you ain't have to bring your thanks to the door, she said, walking over, patting his arm. But I'm glad you did. Next to the register, a hand-lettered sign said, Last Day. Thank you for 40 years of love. The Scotch tape holding it up had been reused twice. Underneath, in smaller script, someone had added, We are accepting stories and photos for our memory wall. Leave your love. The memory wall, 3 folding corkboards leaning against the back mirror, was already half full. A prom picture with glitter around the edges, a photo of a big chop smile, a church program with a stiffly smiling little girl who had grown up under Gloria's dryers, a business card that read, Attorney at Law, Esque, with a note, Couldn't have passed the bar without your Saturday pep talks. Y'all write something before you go, Gloria told anyone within earshot. Ain't but one thing I ever wanted to collect in this life, and that's your good words. Miss Gloria, Denise said, one hand on her hair, the other riffling through her purse. I wrote mine already, but I can't read it, or I'll cry. It ain't even noon. You can cry, Maya said, eyes wide through her glasses, a donut already half eaten. I brought napkins. Baby, you brought half the Krispy Kreme, someone teased, and the room laughed. At 11, Gloria took a breath while a curl cooled and said, just like that, the way she might announce the next number at bingo, After today, babies, I'm retiring for real. The room stilled, then reanimated with the kind of protest that are half joking and half prayers. No, ma'am. You can't do us like that. I ain't doing nothing to nobody, Gloria said, laughter living in the corner of her mouth. I'm doing something for me. 40 years is enough standing on my feet. My knees are singing the blues, and they can't carry a tune. But the shop? Denise asked softly, voice landing somewhere between her chest and her throat. I'm selling it, Gloria said. A barbershop's coming in. Boys need a place, too. The neighborhood's different now. Rent is rent. She wiped her hands on a towel, squeezed it once. We had our time. Lord, we had our time. For a second, the choir on the radio filled the room with a sound that felt like a soft landing. Outside, a city bus sighed at the curb. Tell me about when you first opened, Maya said. It came out like a plea. Gloria looked at her in the mirror. Maya's hair was a halo of coils that sprang back whenever you touched them, stubborn and joyful. I was 28, Gloria said. Had a baby on my hip and a dream in my pocket. I took out a small loan. Folks said I was crazy. A beauty shop? In this neighborhood? But I knew what I was doing. We needed a place for us, a place to come as we are and leave a little taller. We needed a sanctuary where you could bring your whole life and set it on the counter next to the blue barbicide jar and not be judged for it. My mama brings her life everywhere, too, one of the little girls announced, and laughter rippled like ribbon through the room. That first spring, the line went around the block for Easter hair, Gloria continued. We had girls in patent leather shoes falling asleep under dryers, and mothers trying not to cry when they saw the finished style because they worked 2 jobs, and this was the one place they could give their daughter something soft. We did finger waves till my hands cramped. We had silk wraps and roller sets and bumps and bobs. Then the natural hair movement came, and Lord, we all learned together. New products, new techniques. Y'all taught me as much as I taught y'all. You taught me how to write a resume, Denise said, and how to leave a man who didn't see me. I taught you how to leave split ends, too, Gloria replied. You used to want to keep everything that was broken just because it had been there. A chorus of rose up. By noon, someone had ordered fried fish sandwiches from the spot 2 doors over. The scent of grease and cornmeal joined the pressing oil like a second verse. The bell kept dinging as women came to sit, to stand, to lean, to remember. People who had moved away came back today, the last day, as if drawn by a thread stretched across time and doors. They left notes on the memory wall. 16 and pregnant, you did my hair for the baby shower and said I was still worthy of love. When my mother died, you braided my grief into something I could carry. You convinced me to go back to school. Now I have my PhD. You stopped me from getting bangs in 2007. God used you. A woman with salt at her temples hugged Gloria and whispered, I got my first press here. I felt like a grown woman walking out onto Beatty's Ford, baby. Thought the wind would bow down. Gloria laughed and hugged her back. The wind did what it was supposed to then. After the rush, there was a lull. The dryers quieted. The gospel station played a commercial for car insurance, and the sunlight shifted just enough to make the dust motes brighter. A wind blew the bell and made it ring without a person. The shop took a breath. Then the bell rang for real. A woman walked in with a child hiding behind her hip. The little girl clutched a paperback and looked at the floor like it might tell her a secret. Beads framed her face in clear and pink, and her socks had ruffles blooming from the cuffs. Hello, the mother said, voice uncertain in that way that says, I should have called first. Are you still taking people today? Gloria glanced around. For a first press? She asked, seeing it in the little girl's eyes, the anticipation, the tiny fear, the weight of a moment bigger than this minute. The mother exhaled. Yes, ma'am. She's starting middle school this week and she begged me. I know it's your last day. If you can't, that's... Come on in, Gloria said. What's your name, baby? The little girl looked up. Ari. You got a book there, Ari. What you reading? Ari showed the cover, A Wrinkle in Time. It's about a girl who travels to save her dad, she said. She's kinda nerdy. People don't like her, but she still saves the world. Sounds like somebody I know, Gloria said. Have a seat. We'll get you right. The room, everyone in it, knew what this was. We have rites. We have rituals. A first press is more than hair. It is a ceremony, an introduction, an inheritance delivered palm to scalp. The mothers in the room softened their faces. The girls sat up straighter. Denise swiveled in her chair to get a better view. Maya slid closer, not to document with her phone, but to witness with her eyes. Gloria draped the cape over Ari's shoulders, snapping it lightly at the back with a rhythm that said, I have done this 1,000 times, and will do it like it's the first time. She sectioned Ari's hair with reverence, the comb a wand in practiced hands, and started the wash. Ari closed her eyes at the bowl while water ran over her coils, and the whole room fell into that old salon hush that sometimes happens when someone's head is in someone else's hands, and care has its own gravity. You tender-headed? Gloria asked. Only when people are rough, Ari said. Gloria smiled. We don't do rough. Not here. She applied a little heat protectant that smelled like coconut and hibiscus. She turned the press on and waited for the red light to wink ready. She comb-chased each section, letting the comb guide the iron, letting the steam curl and fade. She worked in a circle around Ari's head, the way some people circle a prayer, coming back to the beginning to make sure it took. While she pressed, she talked like she always did, not to fill the silence, but to braid wisdom through it. You're going to middle school, she said softly. You know who you are? I like science, Ari said, and writing. And I don't like gym. You know what you are? Gloria asked. Ari thought. A person? The room chuckled. You are a child becoming a girl becoming a woman, Gloria said, which means you are a miracle, and you better act like it. But a miracle ain't a show. It's a truth. So don't go begging nobody to believe you when you already do. You hear me? Ari nodded, eyes on herself in the mirror. Her hair glided under the iron and fell into the shoulder length it had been all along, just hidden in the spiral. And another thing, Gloria said, lifting a section at the crown. If you don't like this, if you miss your curls tomorrow, next week, you don't owe nobody an explanation about why you changed your mind. Hair is an accessory to your spirit, baby, not the other way around. You already beautiful, with or without the heat. Maya swallowed and Denise blinked. The bride clutched her tin of butter cookies like prayer beads. Victor stood by the door with his hands in his pockets, his eyes bright. Gloria turned the chair and angled the mirror so Ari could see herself from behind. Look at you, she murmured. You look like the future. Ari's mouth rounded into a small O that opened into a grin. She touched her hair like it might disappear and then put her hand down, remembering. She was growing up right there, a mole moving a millimeter. Can I take a picture? The mother asked. Take a picture, Gloria said. Take 10. Phones clicked. The bell chimed without opening, wind moving through like a benediction. When it was done, Gloria clicked off the iron, the soft pop of finality, and wrapped the cord the way she always did, tightening the loop, tucking it away. She handed Ari a satin scarf and showed her how to tie it like a secret. Sleep with this, she said. Protect what you want to keep. Ari nodded, serious as a judge. Thank you, she said, then quieter. Thank you for saying I'm beautiful both ways. Gloria kissed her on the forehead. You're welcome both ways. The room exhaled. A few women clapped without meaning to. Joy is a reflex in the right places. Miss? Gloria? Maya's voice was watery. What are you going to do with your time? Rest, Gloria said simply. Then maybe I'll write a little. Cook. Visit my sister in Wilmington and sit on the porch till mosquitoes carry me off. I might teach a class for the young stylists. They got talent. They just need someone to show them how to hold the heat and the heart at the same time. Will you miss it? Denise asked, because they all wanted to hear how to let go of something you loved. Gloria looked around the room, at the mirrors that had watched generations grow, at the dryers that had been confessionals and comedy clubs, at the product shelves with their rainbow of bottles, at the memory wall so full that notes were now taped to the countertop. I already miss it, she said, but I ain't losing it. It lives in y'all. She put a hand to her chest, and in here. Someone put on Before I Let Go, and someone else said, Oh, here we go, and the room shifted into celebration like a second skin. The little girls danced, beads pronouncing each move. The bride opened the butter cookies and found the pretend sewing kit inside, the buttons and safety pins and measuring tape, and everybody hooted because why do we keep those tins if not to hold more of what we need to fix what's broken? They took the group photo, a ritual as sacred as any altar call. Everyone crowded around Gloria's chair, Denise in front, Maya to one side, the bride on the other, Victor in the back with the tall people, Ari and her mother in the center like a period at the end of a long sentence. The timer beeped, the flash popped. For a heartbeat, their reflected faces arrested light like a promise. When the last head was styled, and the last dryer clicked silent, and the gospel station played a song that sounded suspiciously like a goodbye, Gloria walked to the door. She reached up and flipped the little wooden sign from open to closed. The bell made its small sound, then settled. Her hand rested on the key ring that had lived on her belt loop for 4 decades. Come on, Ms. G, Denise said softly. We'll walk you to the back. You don't have to. I know, Gloria said, smiling, but I want to. She turned back to the room one more time. The chairs sat like thrones waiting for queens. The mirrors held the last of the day's warmth. The memory wall leaned a little, heavy with love. The floor was dotted with hair clippings, tiny commas of growth punctuating the day. She thought about sweeping it up and decided to leave it for a minute longer. Proof. Relics. "Can I say something?" Maya asked. "Say it." Maya cleared her throat. "When I came here the first time, I just needed a trim," she said. "But you told me to finish my semester. You told me my edges weren't my whole story. You said, what you got growing in there is stronger than what's falling away. I wrote it down in my notes app, and I read it whenever I think about quitting. Thank you for seeing me." A hum of agreement rose. Heads nodded like a field of sunflowers. "Child," Gloria said, "you saw yourself." I just held the mirror. They started toward the back. Denise grabbed the donut box. The bride picked up the cookie tin. Victor snagged a stray towel. Ari held her book in one hand and her satin scarf in the other like a diploma and a flag. The shop, for the first time all day, felt close and quiet, like a heartbeat you could hear if you laid your head on someone's chest. In the small hallway to the back door, next to the sink with the ever-leaking faucet, Gloria paused under a faded Polaroid of herself at 28. In the picture, her smile took up most of her face, and her hair was a sleek bob with ends so sharp they could have sliced bread. She had signed it, back then, with a flourish. "Gloria, we gon' be all right." She looked at it now and laughed softly. "Girl, you had some nerve," she told her younger self, "and you were right." At the back door, she turned the deadbolt. The sound echoed bigger than it was. She pushed the door open, and the late afternoon light slid in like a blessing. The alley smelled like hot tar and honeysuckle from the vine that refused to be told where to grow. Denise touched her elbow. "You ready?" "As I'll ever be," Gloria said. "Wait," Ari blurted. "Miss? Gloria?" "Yes, baby?" Can I come back one day when I want my curls back?" Gloria laughed. Rich, musical, a sound you could keep on your tongue. "Honey, you can always come back," she said. "To your curls." "To yourself?" She glanced at the shop, at all the chairs and dryers and mirrors that had taught that lesson 1,000 times, in 1,000 ways. "And if you mean here?" She looked at the ceiling as if the answer might be written on the tiles. "The barbers will be here. But the spirit of this place? It's not going anywhere you can't carry it." Ari nodded solemnly, as if accepting an assignment. They stepped out into the sun, blinked, and then turned as one to look back. The shop looked ordinary from the alley, just a back door and a cinder block wall that had been painted pale pink and then bleached by 10 summers. It would be a barber shop by October. It would have a different sign. Someone would paint over the pink. But if you stood at the right angle, you could still see the outline of the Glorias that had once been there, like a ghost blessing. Inside, the lights hummed for a few seconds longer and then went still. The irons cooled under their little silver guards. The combs, resting in blue, kept their vigil. The memory wall leaned and waited. Gloria locked the back door and slipped the keys into her pocket, where they clinked against the mint candies she always carried. She closed her eyes, one hand pressed to the wood, and whispered something that belonged to her alone. When she opened them, there were tears, but they didn't fall. They shone. "All right," she said, lifting her chin the way she had taught babies and brides and big sisters to do. "Let's go." They walked to the front together to turn off the last light, moving slow like a processional. The neon open sign buzzed and then dimmed. In the mirrors, they were a small crowd and a long line at once, the past standing shoulder to shoulder with the present, the future peeking through with bright eyes and a satin scarf. The choir on the radio was silent now, replaced by the faint static of an empty frequency. At the door, Gloria reached up and tapped the closed sign with 2 fingers, like a coach tapping a banner one last time. The bell gave one more tiny ding, as if clearing its throat to speak and deciding it had already said enough. On the sidewalk, people drifted. Hugs layered over hugs. Someone started, "You know I love you," and someone finished, "Always have," and someone else, "Always will." Cars passed, and strangers glanced at the cluster of people outside a little salon on a Charlotte block, unaware that a sacred thing had just taken place. Denise wiped her eyes and laughed at herself. "I said I wasn't going to cry." "You lie a lot," Gloria said, smiling. "Not in your chair," Denise replied. Maya tucked hair behind her ear. "I'm going to write about this," she said. "Not for school. For me." "Write it for all of us," the bride said, and then, catching herself, "If you want?" No pressure, and they all laughed, because there is always pressure and always permission, and somehow this place had managed to hold both. Ari pulled on her mother's sleeve. "Can we go home?" she asked. "I want to read and then wrap my hair." "Look at her," Gloria said softly, already knowing how to tend to what she's been given. The sun slid down another notch. The block changed colors, the brick turning warmer, the sky bluer. From somewhere up the street, the smell of cut grass drifted over, and a boy on a bike whooshed by with playing cards clipped to his spokes, making the sound of 100 small drums. Gloria took a step back from the door, then another. She didn't look away, not yet. She let herself take in every detail. The crooked baseboard she always meant to fix, the scuff on the threshold that meant thousands of shoes had walked in and thousands had walked out higher, the little scrawl of G+J carved into the windowsill from when her son, God rest him, had sat up front, bored on a summer day, and she hadn't even fussed. Denise slipped her hand into Gloria's and squeezed. "The chairs may be empty," she said, "but the crowns will always shine," Gloria finished. They had said it together 100 times when girls left the shop feeling like the sun had come and sat in their part. "All right then," Gloria said again, this time to herself as much as to them. She turned, light-footed, as a woman who had just set down something heavy and picked up something soft. "I'm hungry," she declared, and the crowd cheered at the ordinary insistence of appetite. They walked away from the shop as a cluster, dispersing in 2s and 3s, carrying bits of the place like glitter you don't know is on you until you catch the light. Behind them, the bell did not ring. The sign did not turn. But inside every woman who had sat in that chair, something had been turned on and left on. Something like a light, or a song, or a sentence that had finally found its period. And somewhere in Charlotte, under a satin scarf, a little girl slept with a new smoothness against her cheek, dreaming, perhaps, of science and stories and saving the world, all while her hair, pressed, then later curled, then later coiled again, remained what it had always been, a crown, yes, but also a reminder that what we tend is ours and what we are is more.